Mom, should I tell Dad what happened last night? The moment everything changed, the morning sunlight filtered through the kitchen curtains, casting soft shadows across the breakfast table. I sat with my coffee, watching the steam rise in lazy spirals, when everything I thought I knew about my life began to unravel. Dad, should I tell you what happened last night? The words came from my 7-year-old son, Ethan, spoken so casually between bites of cereal that at first, I almost didn't register them. But then I saw Claire's reaction, my wife of 9 years, and I knew something was terribly wrong. Her hand froze halfway to her coffee cup. Her eyes went wide, then quickly narrowed as she forced a laugh that sounded like breaking glass. "Sweetheart, what are you talking about?" she said, her voice pitched too high, too bright. Ethan looked between us, confused by the sudden tension. "The man who came over after I went to bed. You told me it was a secret, remember? That I shouldn't tell Dad." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. I set down my coffee with deliberate slowness, my hands steady even as my heart hammered against my ribs. I didn't look at Claire yet. I kept my eyes on my son, on his innocent face, on the way he was still swinging his legs under the table like this was just another ordinary morning. "What man, buddy?" I asked quietly. "Mom said he was just a friend," Ethan continued, oblivious to the bomb he'd just detonated. I heard voices downstairs, so I came out of my room, but Mom said I had to go back to bed and not come out again. She said it was a grown-up thing and I shouldn't tell you. Claire's face had gone pale. "Jake, it's not what you think." I held up a hand, still not looking at her. "Ethan, go upstairs and brush your teeth, please. I need to talk to Mom." Our son hesitated, sensing something wrong in the air between us, then slid off his chair and padded out of the kitchen. I waited until I heard his footsteps on the stairs before I finally turned to face my wife. She was already crying. "Jake, please let me explain." "How long?" The question came out flat, emotionless. I was surprised by my own calm. "It's not an affair," she said quickly, desperately. It's complicated." "How long?" She flinched at my tone. 6 months. "But Jake, we haven't. It's not physical. We just talk. He understands things about me that don't." I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "Don't you dare make this about what I don't understand about you." The truth was, I'd suspected something for weeks. The way she'd started dressing differently, taking more care with her appearance. The phone she'd suddenly started password protecting. The late nights at work. The distance between us and bed. The way she'd turn away when I reached for her. But suspecting and knowing are different things entirely. And having it confirmed by my 7-year-old son, who'd been made complicit in his mother's betrayal, that was something else altogether. "His name is David," Claire said, her voice barely above a whisper. "He's a colleague. We got close during the Henderson project. At first, it was just professional, but then—" "I don't care about the timeline of how you fell for someone else," I interrupted. "I care that you brought him into our home, that you let our son see him, that you made Ethan keep secrets from me. It was only once. Last night was the first time he came here, I swear. I didn't mean for Ethan to see anything. He was supposed to be asleep." I laughed, a bitter sound. "So that makes it better? That you meant to sneak him in and out without anyone knowing?" She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. The gesture felt like a violation now, her touch something that belonged to someone else. "Jake, please. I made a mistake. I know that now. But I love you. I love our family. You let our son lie for you," I said, my voice cracking for the first time. "Do you understand what you've done? You made him choose between his parents. You put that weight on a 7-year-old child." The tears were streaming down her face now, mascara running in dark rivulets. "I never meant for any of this to happen. I was confused. I felt lost. After Ethan was born, and then my career took off, and you seemed so distant, always working. So this is my fault." I cut her off again. "I worked hard to provide for this family. I came home every night. I was here, Claire. Present. Where were you?" She had no answer for that. I thought about all the nights I'd fallen asleep alone while she worked late. The weekends she'd been too tired to make love. The growing silence between us that I'd attributed to the normal ebb and flow of marriage. I told myself it was just a phase, that we'd find our way back to each other eventually. I'd been a fool. "I need you to leave," I said finally. Her eyes widened. "What?" "No, Jake, please. Just for today. Go to your sister's, go to a hotel, I don't care. But I need you out of this house so I can think." What about Ethan? Ethan stays with me. You've involved him enough. She started to protest, then seemed to realize she had no ground to stand on. She nodded, defeated, and left the kitchen. I heard her moving around upstairs, packing a bag, and then the front door closing with a soft click. The silence that followed was deafening. I sat back down at the table, my untouched breakfast growing cold, and tried to process what had just happened. My marriage was over. Maybe not legally, not yet, but in every way that mattered. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair by a child's innocent question. Ethan appeared in the doorway, his toothbrush still in his hand. Where did Mom go? She had to go visit Aunt Lisa for a while, I said, forcing a smile. It's just you and me today, buddy. He climbed into my lap, and I held him close, breathing in the scent of his strawberry shampoo. He felt so small, so fragile. I thought about how Claire had asked him to keep secrets, how she'd put him in the middle of adult problems he shouldn't even know existed. That was what hurt most, not the betrayal itself, but that she'd been willing to use our son to hide it. Dad, Ethan's voice was small against my chest. Did I do something wrong? My heart broke all over again. No, buddy. You did exactly the right thing. You should never keep secrets from me or Mom. Never. Mom seemed sad. She is sad, I said carefully. But that's not your fault. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, and we feel sad when we realize what we've done. But none of this is because of you, okay? You remember that. He nodded, but I could see the worry in his eyes. Children always blame themselves, no matter what you tell them. The day passed in a strange haze. I took Ethan to the park, helped him with a puzzle, made him lunch. We watched cartoons on the couch, and I tried to be present, to give him some sense of normalcy, even as my world crumbled around me. Claire called twice. I didn't answer. That night, after I'd tucked Ethan into bed and read him 3 stories, I finally sat alone in our bedroom, my bedroom now, I supposed, and let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. The anger came first, hot and consuming. I wanted to break things, to scream, to find this David and make him understand what he'd helped destroy. But beneath the anger was something worse, the grief. The death of what we'd been, what I'd thought we were. I remembered our wedding day, how beautiful Claire had looked walking down the aisle, how she'd cried when she said her vows, how I'd promised to love her forever, in sickness and health, for better or worse. We'd had the better. We'd had years of laughter and love, of building a life together. We'd created Ethan, this beautiful, innocent child who deserved better than parents who couldn't keep their promises. And we'd had the worst too, the arguments about money, the stress of new parenthood, the slow drift apart that I'd been too blind or too busy to address. But I'd never imagined this. Never imagined that she'd find someone else. That she'd bring him into our home. That she'd ask our son to lie. My phone buzzed with a text from Claire. Please, Jake. Can we talk? I'll do anything. Counseling, whatever you want. Just don't give up on us. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to believe we could fix this, that love could be enough to overcome betrayal. But another part, the part that kept seeing Ethan's confused face at breakfast, knew that some things, once broken, could never be made whole again. Not because I couldn't forgive an affair, but because she'd been willing to sacrifice our son's innocence to hide it. I typed back, we'll talk. But not tonight. I need time. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, okay, I love you. I didn't respond. Instead, I went to check on Ethan one more time. He was sleeping peacefully, his stuffed elephant clutched to his chest, completely unaware of how his world was about to change. Tomorrow, there would be difficult conversations. Lawyers, probably. Custody arrangements. The slow, painful process of untangling a life we'd built together. But tonight, I just sat in the chair beside his bed and watched him sleep. This little person who deserved so much better than the mess his parents had made. The morning sun would rise again. Life would go on. But everything had changed in that moment at breakfast, when a child's innocent question had exposed a secret that was never his to carry. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that I would spend the rest of my life making sure Ethan never had to bear the weight of adult mistakes again. That was my promise to him, the one I would never break.